And now, everyone, it is time that we will go and cap this episode off with the grand finale. And for this grand finale, we are going to be looking into one of the latest trends that has been dominating social media. And yes, it is related with AI. Now, if you've been on social media, regardless of what it may be, rather it be like Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, maybe even Blue Sky or anything like that, then there is a strong chance that you've seen at least one image that came out of this trend. And so far, as you can imagine, because of the use of AI, it got pretty controversial. And you'll know what I'm talking about when I will be talking, you'll know what I'm talking about when I'll be bringing up the Studio Ghibli AI trend. So what happened was that OpenAI, one of the biggest or probably the most prominent AI companies out there, they unleashed a new update related to ChatGPT. In which now ChatGPT has the ability to go and transform any picture that you send it, and they will go and turn it into an art style that people know from pop culture. Like, you could go and upload an image of yourself, and it will turn it into the style of The Simpsons or Family Guy or the Powerpuff Girls or anything like that. But the one thing that people use the most with it is that they want to go and take their images and try to transform that into something that looks like it came out of a Studio Ghibli film. In fact, the popularity of this was so big that even some fans have sent a special image to the founder and the head of OpenAI, Sam Altman, and he actually made it his profile pic, like just to really get on board with the whole trend of basically turning any picture into a Studio Ghibli AI image. And there have been plenty of examples that people would go and use it for. Of course, one of the most prominent ones being that they would go and turn some popular memes into the Studio Ghibli style. Like, for example, like you got the little girl who's like standing next to the fire and looking all smug-like, and then you got like the image of like the girl that's just the attractive girl passing by, the guy just checking her out, and his girlfriend being upset about it. Or the Turkish athlete in the 2024 Paris Olympics who only had his shirt, and he would be like, he would be shooting his gun, and like I think he got like either bronze medal or silver medal for it. And then there's also another way that people would go and turn movies into the Studio Ghibli style, rather it be like Empire Strikes Back, Scarface, The Godfather, Lord of the Rings, or they would just do their personal image and all that kind of stuff. So that is pretty much the latest thing that's been going on, is the fact that people have been turning Studio G, they've been pretty much turning whatever picture that they could find, and that they would turn it into a Studio Ghibli AI generated image. And as you could imagine, at the same time, there are people out there who would also go and try to use the technology for shocking purposes, that they would take provocative pictures and pretty much throw whatever ethics and morals out the window just to go and be edgy. Like, there have been a bunch of people who want to go and make a Studio Ghibli style image of 9/11 and stuff like that. So from there, of course, with the factor that it is being used with AI, you can imagine that for many people out there, it's something that is actually considered to go and like really cross the line. That people have taken it way too far with AI technology, and now it's really becoming an insult to art itself, especially with the fact that now they're using Studio Ghibli's art style in particular. In fact, one thing that is making its rounds once again, and you might have probably have seen it recently, is in regards to Hayao Miyazaki's comment that he made back in 2016 when there were some computer scientists who came into Studio Ghibli to go and present Hayao Miyazaki and the team at Studio Ghibli like some of the capabilities of what AI could do at the time in order to go and let the computer to go and animate CG characters. And Miyazaki's reaction has been, let's just say, rather priceless. So let me just show you that little clip right here, just to refresh your memory. Actually, let's go back a little bit just to show you what the clips entails. Like, what is it that Hayao Miyazaki watched? All right, let it refresh. Let it remind itself what video it's watching.
これ踊ってるように見えますけど、でこれは早く移動するっていうので学習させたやつなんですね。これ頭を使って移動してるんですけど、基本痛覚とかないし、頭が大事だとかっていう概念がないんで、だからもう頭をもう普通の足のように使って移動してるっていう。この動きがとにかく気持ち悪いんで、ゾンビゲームの動きに使えるんじゃないかっていう。こういう人工知能を使うと、多分人間が想像できない気持ち悪い動きができるんじゃないか。
So, just to give you context, for those of you only listening, so they showed Studio Ghibli the AI generated animation that they have done with an attempt of a walk cycle, and they try to make an excuse that, oh, you know what? You know, considering the creepiness of the way they move, we could use that like in a zombie game. This is Hayao Miyazaki's reaction.
毎朝この頃会わないけど身体障害の友人がいるんですよ。そのハイタッチって言うんだけども大変なんです。彼の筋肉がこわばってる手と僕の手でこうハイタッチする。でその彼のことを思い出してね、僕はこれ面白いと思って見ることできないですよ。これを作る人たちは痛みとかそういうものについてね、何も考えないでやってるでしょ。極めて不愉快ですよね。そんなに気持ち悪いものをやりたいなら勝手にやってればいいだけで、僕はこれを自分たちの仕事をつなげたいとは全然思いません。極めて何か生命に対する侮辱を感じます。
これでもほとんど実験なので、
それは分かってます。
その世の中に見せてどうこうってそういうものじゃないんです。
それは本当によく分かってるつもりですけど、どこへたどり着きたいんですか。
まあ人間が描くのと同じように絵を描く機械
を作りたいんだ。
はい。
地球の最後の日が近いって感じですね。それは人間の方が自信がなくなってくるから。
So, yeah, just to give you full context, Miyazaki's response, and many people have quoted this, that he pretty much said that it is an insult to life itself. Like, pretty much blasting these people for creating this. And he was, like, it just made him full-on upset. Even his producing buddy, Toshio Suzuki, like, he was even there, like, what is your goal? Like, what are you trying to do with this? So it's like, what did you expect out of this? And I gotta say, like, I know it sounds bad, but I just have to go and point out, like, this dude's reaction, like, oh my God, this face right over here, this is the face of a man who is reconsidering his life choices. This is someone that there is a very strong likelihood that he's not working the job he is right now. I don't think any of these guys are working in the jobs that they're doing. I don't know if like this dude is doing his dream of like building a machine that can draw pictures like humans do. I don't know if they're doing it because if they created something that Hayao Miyazaki said that is an insult to life itself, and that it was legit filmed and was released to the public, these guys have a full-on career change. Like this guy's probably an accountant. This guy right here, he's like a receptionist. This guy right here, I don't know, you're probably still seeing him like drinking sake at a bar or something like that. I don't know. This dude is still trying to recover what Miyazaki has told him. But that's the whole thing. It's basically the fact to go and present how Hayao Miyazaki has expressed that he is full on against this technology. And keep in mind that this was back in 2016, and this thing is now resurfacing because it still rings true to this day. People are massively upset with the use of AI, with how they are being presented, because it pretty much discredits the artistry that is put onto it. Like, it pretty much discredits and takes away any value of the hard work that is being put onto the Studio Ghibli films. Like like I said, the artistry, the craftsmanship, the years that it takes in order to produce some of the most beautiful animation that you could ever find in the industry. And then you got something like this coming in, trying to replicate it with no effort, with no craftsmanship whatsoever. It's just a computer that just full on generates an art piece for people to go and look at. And that's pretty much it. It pretty much shows the moral or ethical aspects of it just thrown right out the window, just for the sake of reactionaries to have a new toy and just playing around with it, while taking away, just taking away the value of what is it that makes these Studio Ghibli films so timeless, and what makes them considered some of the best animated features of all time. And from there, though, it did honestly make me wonder. It honestly made me think, is this even legal? Are they even allowed to do this? Especially with the fact that they're using the art style of Studio Ghibli, a Japanese animation studio. Would Japanese copyright laws actually be cool with it? Because I know firsthand that Japan is extremely strict, some of the strictest in the world when it comes to copyright infringement. And I mean, just recently, my channel, my YouTube channel, actually had a strike because of copyright infringement when I just wanted to upload my review of Pokemon the Movie 2000. So I just want to go and clarify, I'm not a law expert. I don't claim to be or anything like that, but I did my best to do some research to see if there is any legal troubles when it comes to stuff like this. And I did find something interesting here. It's this document called General Understanding of AI and Copyright in Japan, which is directly from the Agency for Cultural Affairs from the government of Japan. So this is definitely a very solid source right over here. So I don't think you can find anything else that might be stronger than this, because they will go and make things clear about the factor of AI and copyright in Japan. Now, to go and ultimately answer the question, does the Studio Ghibli AI art infringe copyright in Japan? And the answer is honestly complicated. It's honestly very hard to say, because on one hand, I did find something in here that did feel like it might be something that could show that it may infringe upon copyright, and that is right over here. It's specifically with Article 30-4. And Article 30-4, it pretty much states that technically, yes, you can use copyrighted material without the permission of the copyright holder in order to go and do some AI training, but it must be for non-enjoyment purposes. That whatever you're using to train the AI, it cannot be used for enjoyment. And when they clarify what is considered to be enjoyment, it is right over here, in which it states that enjoyment under the Article 30-4 refers to the act of obtaining the benefit of having the viewer's intellectual and emotional needs satisfied through using copyrighted work. And some of the examples that they stated includes literary works, works of computer programming, musical works, and movie works. So theoretically, this feels like it might infringe Article 34 because the purpose of these AI images is clearly for enjoyment, and plus the fact that it is using copyrighted works from movies, such as the Studio Ghibli films, in order to go and train its AI. So there is a factor that might feel pretty illegal. But hold on. Then I found something a little bit different that might contrast that argument. And that is right over here in terms of the imitation of a creator's style. And that feels like something that might legit be true for this right over here, considering that it is emulating a style and not necessarily a specific movie per se. In which it says right over here, copyright protection applies to the creative expressions of an idea and not the idea itself. Therefore, an AI-generated material which applies to the creator's style of a pre-existing copyrighted work does not infringe copyright if the style merely encompasses an idea. Conversely, Article 30-4 of the Act may not apply to AI training which picks off a specific creator's style in the following situations. The distinctions between ideas and creative expressions have been determined on a case-by-case basis, depending on the specific circumstances. A small group of works consisting only of specific creators' copyrighted works may not only have a common creator style, i.e. idea, but may also include common creative expressions. If such group of works is intentionally reproduced in order to carry out additional training for the purpose of generating materials that contains all or parts of such common creative expressions, Article 30-4 of the Act does not apply to such reproductions because of the purpose enjoyment coexists. So from there, it feels like now you understand what I mean by the fact that this feels very complicated, even in terms of Japanese copyright laws. Because on one hand, it does feel a bit illegal because there is a chance that what they are doing here is infringing on Article 30-4, but then again, what they are imitating here is a creator's style. It's not necessarily a specific movie like My Neighbor Totoro or Spirited Away or Kiki's Delivery Service or Princess Mononoke. It's not any of those specific factors. It is more the general art style that Studio Ghibli would go and produce. So that's why even law experts are saying that if Studio Ghibli would go and put out a lawsuit, they would find that they would have a bit of a hard time to try to go and actually put in, a copyright strike or just put in a copyright infringement lawsuit onto OpenAI. It's just a bit difficult. It's just a bit difficult to try to figure out if it would be possible to go and do so. So that's why overall, despite the moral ethics of it, there is an aspect where it feels like maybe it's legal, maybe it's not, but there's one thing that it doesn't deny is that it is popular and it's just not been looking good for, the artistry. It's like, this is just a prominent example of what Hayao Miyazaki says, is that this feels more like an insult than a technological marvel, because it takes away the years of craftsmanship, like the artistry behind it, that has made Studio Ghibli one of the most beloved animation studios of all time, just to go and get some enjoyment of like, hey, look, here's a picture of me, but in the Studio Ghibli style. It really it just removes like, what is it that made the Studio Ghibli art style so beloved? What made it so complex? And what is it that's so difficult to try to go and replicate, or at least be replicated by people? However, there is one more thing I want to say, though, because maybe this is a good thing after all. I know, it sounds weird, but allow me to explain. There is a silver lining to this, in which there is a possibility that this is more of a detriment to AI than it actually is good. Now, just yesterday, I actually talked to a friend of mine who is actually very knowledgeable in the business of AI, and he actually told me that with all the Studio Ghibli AI art that's been going around social media, it's actually something that could actually end up hurting OpenAI. This is more of a problem for them than it actually is pretty good. And I'll tell you why. Because regardless of the legal issues, these are two different directions that would ultimately screw over OpenAI. And I'll tell you why. Let's say, for example, it's proven to be illegal. Let's say OpenAI would not be allowed to go and do this, or that they would not be allowed to go and profit from this. Well, then what happens is that people would still be using the AI, and then from there, it would end up damaging their resources, or not necessarily damage, but it would pretty much overuse their resources, and that the technology is becoming, it's less profitable than it is before because, well, they can't even use, they can't even make money in the first place. So from there, they can't, they cannot go and actually profit from people who would actually go and use Chat GPT. So from there, that would be a massive problem, that they would have technology in order to keep running. They would have to severely lose money in the process. But what if it's legal though? What if they are allowed to do so? What if it's been proven that, no copyright laws are broken and that they're free to go and do something like this? Well, that reveals a massive flaw with OpenAI. Because if it is proven that the Studio Ghibli AI art style, if all this is legal, then that means the competitors are going to take note and they will take action to go and create something that could be even better than what OpenAI would go and produce. Because that's the biggest problem with OpenAI. It's the fact that they are very fragile when it comes to competition. Because they know very well that they're not the best when it comes to crafting this technology. They know that there are way better out there. There are way better stuff out there in terms of providing that AI service than anyone else. In fact, they had quite a massive scare when DeepSeek entered into the scene, and they proved that they can not only provide better technology than OpenAI, but they could do so at a fraction of the cost. And that's why OpenAI is trying so hard to try to monopolize the AI industry, that they want to go and make ChatGPT synonymous with AI. It's kind of like how many people would go and say Kleenex instead of a tissue paper. They want people to say ChatGPT instead of AI. That's their big goal with what they want to try to accomplish. But if there are other competitors out there who are allowed to go and create this technology and prove that they could go and do better, then this is severely going to tank and undermine OpenAI, where they would just go and crumble, that they would just be screwed because they are not in a position right now to go and compete against other AI competitors. So that is why I am saying that the silver lining and the good news from all this is that even though this may not be necessarily something that could ultimately be the downfall of AI in general, this could be something that would ultimately cripple the biggest AI company out there. Because either way, whatever the situation may be, it would put them in a bad situation where they would be left losing a lot of revenue, rather it be because the technology that they provide has been proven to not be legal, or at least not legal to go and profit out of, or it would be something that their competitors would go and take advantage out of, and they would go and prove themselves that they can easily be a better alternative than with OpenAI. So that's ultimately the entire situation that they have found themselves in. And who knows? We'll see with how things go in the future. Maybe this trend will go and continue, or maybe OpenAI is going to immediately put a stop to this and put in another update to stop people from making more of these Studio Ghibli AI art, because I can tell you right now, internally in OpenAI, they're freaking out about the situation. All right, so with that said now, I would like to go and pass the mic on to you all, and I would like to ask, how do you all feel about the whole Studio Ghibli AI art trend? I mean, there's a very good chance that you guys are against it, but I would like to know what you think about everything that I've discussed here. All right, so let's see. Honestly, this is really upsetting. Miyazaki is absolutely right and should absolutely be against AI. The fact that these people would use AI like this to try to do it in the Studio Ghibli style is just insulting. This really is another example of how AI does nothing but hurt people's jobs. Honestly, the only good thing about this is that this court hurts AI in the long run, but damage OpenAI overall. All right, let's see. I did hear some say Miyazaki's reaction is more about how the zombies movement is more of an insult to disabled people than be angry with AI. However, these people didn't pay attention to the lines that he didn't want AI in his work and that humans lose faith in themselves in response to AI. Well, honestly, I would say that during that particular meeting, yeah, there is that factor that he's just insulted by the way that the zombies would be walking and not understand pain because it was animated by a computer. But you saw in the clip that they made it clear that they want computers to draw just like how people do. So Miyazaki already got the message, and that's why they immediately cut afterwards to the factor that he pretty much lost faith in humanity right there. So I think Miyazaki was very much clear about the intentions of AI to draw like people would, and he doesn't seem too happy to hear about that. Let's see now. Will animators still have their jobs if we bring this tech in? That should be the question when new technology is being brought in. If you bring this tech in, then you better be keeping the people. If you are a single person, then you better not be using that technology. If AI is to be used, then all the artists and animators past and future better be able to have job security. That they have time and good treatment, not be fired. If they are fired, it better be because of their actions, not cost. Oh, yeah, I can definitely understand you right there. Let's see. What else do we have here? We don't have a lot, and I don't have a lot of time left, so I'll go and read two more comments. It's very well that those AI-generated Studio Ghibli art is starting to get popular, and after watching Miyazaki's stance on the technology, his thoughts are priceless and very based. You don't mess with him. And I will say, when it comes to the copyright laws, it's very strange and complicated with how it can be used, but yeah, quite a bizarre trend. Also, wishing you have fun in Japan. I want to ask if there will be a new video during your vacation. I will go and put out a statement much later on, but there will be at least 1 week where I won't be posting a video whatsoever. So I already got it planned out, and you'll know pretty soon what I'll have in store. Anyways, when I first heard about this on Blue Sky, I gotta say that we are reaching an all-time low for this so-called AI art by poorly trying to mimic Studio Ghibli. I honestly do hope that Studio Ghibli will sue OpenAI soon. I hate this, and no one in their right mind should use it. Oh, and one thing, Matt, hope you have a fantastic time in Japan. You're going to love it. Oh, I hope so, dude.